Hey guys, it's Jeremiah Patterson here. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jeremiah Patterson. Hi guys, I'm Jeremiah Patterson. Hey guys, hello everyone, we're live. Welcome to this episode of Daily Conversations with Jeremiah Patterson. Welcome to another video of the Jeremiah Patterson Show YouTube channel. Welcome to the Jeremiah Patterson Show, and thank you so very much for joining me today. Happy Sunday, June 7th. Good evening, and thank you for joining me tonight. Welcome to the Jeremiah Patterson Show, and thank you for joining me tonight. Do you plan on running for a second term as mayor of Earl?
Yes, sir. I plan to do that.
Spread the word about this as much as you can.
But none of those terms have ever been followed or established. Last summer, we gave you a tragic and just absolutely terrible story about the death of Fort Hood specialist Vanessa Kean. Dr. Tjps, thank you so much for coming back on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's great to see you.
Six years. Wow, that's actually really insane. 6 years officially of the Jeremiah Patterson Show and of Tjps Productions. I mean, to think back to the very start, I really started making content back in 2015, so 9 years ago. And unfortunately, I no longer have those videos because I ended up deleting them when I rebranded this channel for my podcast. But it's actually a really funny story that dates back to my childhood. Growing up, I wanted to be president of the United States. I had a book where I would write hundreds of speeches in and record them into my Samsung tablet. I truly believed I could do it, and I wasn't shy about that dream either.
We as give it up for Uncle Jeremiah. We as people do care. When I grow up to be president, I will take care of the country. Then I will tell the people to do good for the country. If you want to care for your country, then you have to care for the people. How I want you to remember to share with the love of God, and we have to trust in yourself. If you're going to love the country, then love the faith of God. I found joy in writing speeches, going over them, and then reciting them for my family and friends, even sometimes doing improv. Dear my fellow Americans, good afternoon, or should I say good evening. Today is Wednesday, and I'm doing another Wednesday video. But I remember growing up and my cousins would be playing outside and I'd be like the only one inside reading a book or doing something educational. Even at school, while all the other kids were, playing on the playground, I'd have this collection of books with me that I checked out from the library. It was enthralling and fun to me that you could just consume vast amounts of knowledge. But I remember this one time I was talking to one of the teachers about President John F. Kennedy. And my second grade teacher had actually came out the building and she was like, Jeremiah, why aren't you playing with the other kids? And I proceeded to step away from them and I just went on this side of the building, while everyone else was playing, and I just started reading. So that's how I knew I was definitely different. Talking about John F. Kennedy at recess instead of going down the slide. But from knowing all the presidents to how our government worked, I wanted to do more. So I started a YouTube channel. My very first video was on presidential history, and my family knew how invested I was into this. My mom instantly became supportive with this endeavor, taking me to see historical sites and meet iconic figures in politics. From going to Dr. Martin Luther King's house, visiting the White House and Capitol in Washington, D.C., to meeting the president of the Charleston NAACP, civil rights activist Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton, and Martin Luther King's son, also then 2016 presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. I actually remember that day during the meet and greet session, she was taking questions, and my mom and I were in the fourth row. I showed up with a new haircut in the only suit I owned at the time, my purple suit, and I was like, okay, be calm. I'm about to meet Hillary Clinton. I was a big fan. And there was this moment where people were standing up and asking her questions. My mom turns to look at me and ask if I'm going to ask a question. And I think I was 10 at the time. So 10-year-old me is saying no. But I totally should have done it
I should have gone for it. I had a moment to ask the first female presidential candidate on a major political party ticket a question, and I said no. Really, mainly because I was nervous, but I did get to meet her. And if you look closely here, you can see my mom smiling right there in the background after telling Hillary Clinton I wanted to be president. She responded, "He looks like one." It was not too long after that President Obama had come to Charleston, South Carolina after the Mother Emanuel 9 shooting to address our city. And I remember being in the long line that morning with my mom. It was such a long wait to get in, but we finally made it in the auditorium. I had actually fell asleep during the president's speech, but instantly woke up as the crowd erupted in unanimous song, cheer, and applause when he started singing Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace. Amazing grace. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was Clementa Pinckney found that grace. Cynthia Hurd found that grace. Susie Jackson found that grace. Ethel Lance found that grace. The Payne Middleton doctor found that grace. Tywanza Sanders found that grace. Daniel L. Simmons Sr. found that grace. Sharonda Coleman Singleton found that grace. Myra Thompson found that grace. Through the example of their lives, they've now passed it on to us. May we find ourselves worthy of that precious and extraordinary gift as long as our lives endure. May grace now lead them home. May God continue to shed His grace on the United States of America.
Being in that arena when that happened was not only surreal, but very powerful given what our city had just gone through. 9 innocent lives were taken during a Bible study at the prominently Black historic Mother Emanuel AME Church in downtown Charleston. They were killed by a white supremacist. One of my family members was actually there that night but left early. It was a very scary time, but President Obama's speech and unifying message brought us closer together and helped our community heal from that hate and vitriol. When he exited the stage and started making his way out with the Secret Service and close surroundings, we actually had a great seat. We got to see them walk in and leave. First Lady Michelle Obama blew a kiss at me as she went out the door, and then I got to shake President Obama's hand. It was an unforgettable moment captured in this picture taken by my mom as he made his way out of the building. I will never forget that day. So after making YouTube videos for a while, I wanted to do something more, and in 2018, while a 13-year-old sixth grader in middle school, my Mimi was walking around listening to a podcast, and I had no clue what exactly that was. So I asked her about it, went upstairs and did my research, and within like a week, I had figured out everything, and on July 19th, 2019, I launched my first episode.
Good evening, everyone. And in case you were wondering, my podcast name has recently changed from Daily Political Podcast to Daily Podcast with Jeremiah Patterson. And now I have finally established a name, Political Highlight of the Day.
Not too long after, my YouTube channel would follow with these videos to support the new podcast. Looking back, I was definitely trying, but I can't help but laugh at the comical nature in these clips.
Be sure to click the bell. That way you're notified when the latest video comes out. Good evening, everyone. This is Mr. President. How are you guys doing today? Make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and also make sure to subscribe to Future Pres Patterson. I guess that's what it stated. I missed the R in my last name. Hello, everyone. We're live. And today I would like to tell you guys that, as I mentioned, but I didn't technically mention, but our show will be live every day, or should I say every night, at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So look forward to that. If you are Pacific, that is 9 p.m. If you are Central, that is also 9 p.m. So look forward to that, all coming soon on our show, Daily Conversations with Jeremiah Patterson. Also, go check out our podcast. The newest episode has been posted on the Jeremiah Patterson Show. This is Daily Conversations with Jeremiah Patterson. Until YouTube lets the 90-day pass go through, we'll then change the name of this YouTube channel back to Jeremiah Patterson.
The question is not, is the president going to go diametrically full authoritarian? But it's how we as a nation respond to that question. It's how we as a nation respond to it. Do we embrace it? Do we love it? Do we condone it? Or do we condemn it? Or do we step up as American citizens and go to the polls and vote in November? The Jeremiah Patterson Show has actually developed a lot over the years, from initially being a political podcast to now covering mostly everything: politics, news, social issues, underrated stories, special reports, exclusives, and even documentaries. I've interviewed more people than I can count: politicians, friends, journalists, presidents of organizations, civilians, experts, doctors, and the list goes on. It is such a blessing to do this and to record every single time I get the chance to turn on the mic. And like, the scripting process and just the research process is just insane. Like, going through finding all the articles, there's this one picture from 2020. Like, I have like 700 articles on my bed that I printed out just to read about COVID for an episode. And like, the process for the Jeremiah Patterson Show in terms of research definitely got more rigorous in 2020, in terms of the research, the scripting, making sure everything is in check, making sure that we're getting the right information out to people, that we're not pandering to a certain side, that we are also telling the news through history, because a lot of what happens in current day is also relevant to what happened back then. We can't understand the present without knowing the past. And so that is what we definitely try to bring on the Jeremiah Patterson Show, illuminating the truth and history in every story that we tell. But honestly, it is such a joy to continue to be doing this, especially 6 years later. I mean, to make it this far is such a blessing, and I'm so grateful to God for everything, and my family, and all those who have supported me over the course of these years. And thank you, everyone, for being with me on this very, very special documentary here on the Jeremiah Patterson Show YouTube channel. Not the best camera quality. I'm actually recording with my laptop propped up with a ring light right here and another lamp sort of light right here. A little bit of fluorescence, but it's okay. We're eventually going to upgrade. After 6 years, it's time to buy a camera. Thank you all so much for being with me for these 6 years, whether it's you've been a listener for 2 years or 1 year or 5 days. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much to my family for supporting me as well and always being there for me, and supporting my endeavors, to my mom, to my girlfriend, to my Mimi, to my grandpa for inspiring me to get started with politics. Honestly, it's insane. Politics and history as well. To my girlfriend, thank you so much for pushing me, especially when I felt like giving up on this podcast and with this YouTube channel, because Lord knows dreams are hard to follow, but you got to keep going. You got to keep being persistent. Thank you so much to all of you. who has supported me over the years, to my mom who has poured what's a word that I could say, exponentially into me in terms of my dreams and my passions and my perseverance with this. Thank you to my Mimi, to my grandpa, to all of you so much, who have continued to support the show over the years. And we are going to bigger places. 6 years on to infinity. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.